What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Tuesday evening. We are here, Focus TV. We got Octavia Wyatt, Cardell and Wilson Jr. here at Bliss.fm. And man, you know, white flags, all that good stuff.
I know, right?
Upgrades continue to happen. It's always a positive thing. Want to thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate your continued support. Oh man, we got so much to get through tonight. So, a couple of things we're going to talk about. Some college basketball in the area. I got two teams meeting up as early as tomorrow. Several other teams in the area have already faced off. So we got to enjoy that part of it. Octavia, we're going to get into the NFC East. And then into the NFL on a broader note. We're going to talk about the NFL and Colin Kaepernick. Because how could we not talk about this if this is a platform that we do indeed have? After that, you know, Cardell got some rapid fire for us and whatnot. Can't wait to get to that. But as far as college basketball goes, Cardell, looking at George Washington with the men's, we can start there.
I definitely was trying to see how they improve. They lost at a buzzer beater against American at home. Saeed Nelson, keep saying his name, definitely keep an eye on him. One of the top point guards in that, pretty much in college basketball, but definitely in an area that people may or may not know about. But they hosted Morgan State this weekend, and it was interesting at a lot of levels because it featured two black coaches in their first years, and they're trying to get programs back up to, where in the past they have been at a high level. And to be honest, Morgan State surprised me, and definitely Arnaldo Toro, I've been talking big about him. Double machine, came in averaging 16. He had a hard fall, and then returned. I think it was about 2 minutes, 30 seconds into the game, and he didn't return. He just left. And Morgan State kind of took advantage of that with the rebound and whatnot, but it was their level of athleticism and the way they pressured the ball full court, trapping GW guards that just flat out shocked me. I didn't know they had that level of athleticism, that speed, and the length. And they ended up winning the game. Simple as that. GW fell to Morgan State 68-64. GW was led by, I'm going to say his name a lot, Jameer Nelson Jr., who finished with 14 points and 3 rebounds, and junior guard Maceo Jack, who had 13 points. Senior guard Stanley Davis Jr. paced Morgan State with 17 points, and super athletic Troy Baxter added 10 points, 10 rebounds. He's definitely going to get some pro looks. He kind of reminded me a lot of Kelly Oubre, but he didn't have the skill that Kelly Oubre has. As of right now, but same body type and athleticism. He's a problem. With all due respect to Morgan State, and you don't expect to see this level of athleticism. I keep going back to that because, Jameer Nelson can handle, and he's fairly athletic himself. He got ripped at half court by one of Morgan State's guards. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of athleticism that they have. And it bothered GW considerably from over the tip. They pressed, like I said, they pressed full court. They sent traps, and they just didn't send basic traps. They sent traps from blind spots.
Yeah.
Where you dribble and guard, the guy would come up and pressure you, and then by the time you pick up the ball looking for the open man, somebody else on you. And that's what kind of disrupted GW. And they only have a handful of ball handlers that you kind of feel comfortable with handling the ball. They sped GW up with their quickness, and which resulted in 12 turnovers, and their athleticism. I'm not even talking about the speed, the balance. The guards were like covering ground and blocking 3-point shots. When GW bigs had layups inside, they were blocking them inside too. So even then, they was meeting them to challenge shots and block shots as well as causing turnovers. So, at times it looked like GW looked like it was about 6-7 dudes on the court instead of 5. So, and they played like it. They held GW to an inefficient game, 34% from the field, 22% from 3. The Bears are, ferocious defensively, and if they can maintain that, they're going to cause a lot of havoc in the MEAC. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on them. Rebounds, that's always been an all-season, that's been an area of concern. It's just that Turo kind of smoothed it over with his play, but when he went out, it was glaring. Morgan State dominated GW on the boards, 45-29, including 17-7 offensively. 3 players on Morgan finished with 7 or more rebounds, and only 1 player, Sean Walker Jr., freshman guard for GW, he only grabbed 6. They got to figure that out. It can't just be Turo. They can't just rely on Turo to get every rebound. That's just not realistic. Right now, well, entering the contest after Turo, the second leading rebounder was Jameer Nelson Jr., and he was averaging 4.7. So your freshman point guard is second, averaging 5.7. The bigs weren't even, I don't even think there's another big in the top 5. And then that's not going to cut it. It's just not inside scoring. It's another point of concern. Morgan State outscored GW 40-20 in the paint. In the Colonial's 3 losses, they outscored 108-70 in the paint. The Colonial bigs, not named Arnold Torre, has to find a way to be a threat inside. There's plenty of times where GW guards would penetrate, drop it down low, but they were so worried about Morgan State's athletics coming over and blocking that shot, they would hesitate. Then by that time, they all on.
Yeah.
And you can see Jamie Christian, you can see him getting frustrated. Like, man, just shoot the ball, even if you miss or get it blocked. No, it's within the flow, so we could try to get the offensive rebound, go back up. When you hesitate, you throw everything out of whack. And then he's telling this to, 8 stars who's 6'10", and pretty much was the biggest player on the floor. So it's just little things that they have to clean up, little fundamental things. If they rebound and try to score more inside, I know they're focusing more on shooting threes, but when you get your opportunities inside, you have to score inside. Otherwise, it's easy. You're easily guardable. It's just predictable. Let's run them off the 3-point line because they're not trying to really score inside. If they can correct those things, then even with Arnaldo Toro, if he goes out, foul trouble, injury or something like that, they can still hold it down inside.
All right, so we got GW Women's, Maryland Women's meeting tomorrow. I believe they played last year at GW.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was last year at GW. This year it's it's at College Park.
Mm-hmm.
All right, going into this one of the things I took away from this past weekend, Maryland played Delaware. It went as expected. We saw Maryland go through it a little bit with JMU.
Right.
And I know you're telling me about JMU being, some people may overlook it from afar, but that is a solid program there.
Right.
And one of the things that came out of it, after talking to you, there was it looks like there's been a philosophical change for Maryland, so to speak. We obviously know on both sides of basketball, every level, everyone's getting to, everyone's loving the positionless thing, but when you have a difference maker at both point guard and or center, you have to take advantage of those things.
Right.
One of the things Brenda talked about, and we saw by the starting lineup, Shakira was out there after the performance she had at JMU to kind of help get them, her and Ashley were amazing in the second half of that game. Without those two, they don't come back. And I believe this is the way we're going to have to play the rest of this year is it's those two and everybody else fits in off of those two.
Right.
How you're just talking about GW with, it's good to look for the 3 or whatnot, but if you have opportunities inside, this felt like the first time since Shakira's been there was a concerted effort to get the ball in there. Obviously, Ashley playing with her in AAU, she's comfortable getting the ball inside. But for others, a perfect example that to me that stood out was Kyla Charles gets past her defender, goes to attack the basket, and the first thing she does is she drops it off to the big. I haven't seen her do that. Usually Kyla goes to get a bucket. It's not like the bucket wasn't there for her either. But it's a concerted effort, it's the little things. I think they understand they get their big going, it makes everything that much easier on both ends. And we've heard that since we were kids, keep the bigs happy.
And it's been that way since the beginning, since the game was invented.
Yep. So that's one of the things I would keep an eye on as Maryland goes forward. That it's a tiny change, but it's huge because we saw the matchup against South Carolina. We saw a team that they had some youngsters, but it was clear they were playing inside out.
Right.
And when you're able to do that, it changes things so much. And the other thing for Kyla, someone brought up, I think talking to Amber, she brought up her leadership, where it was fun to watch a senior some seniors be like, I need to put up numbers, right, in this type of situation. And she kind of just went to do exactly what was needed. And that type of leadership's going to go a long way when, your 2 young guns as of right now, your 2 focal points are your point guard and your center. But there's going to be times where, Kyla, you're going to have to take over.
No doubt.
But again, it's good to see, when you see your seniors buy into it, it makes it that much easier for everybody. And, from GW's standpoint, I don't know what they're going to be able to do. I would assume they're going to come out in zone and deal with Maryland a little bit.
No, I don't think so because they have a little bit more on the perimeter this year.
Okay.
They're not as big, but they have a bunch of versatile forwards.
Gotcha.
They can, guard inside, pick and roll, be able to pick up the guard and get back to the big. So I'm not sure. It could be a little bit of that, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as much as last year. I think Rosati, I think she knows what she's getting herself into. She had a year that, I think they've been playing the past couple of years, because I think the year before they played at Maryland.
Yeah.
And then they went back to GW, so they back in Maryland this year. So I think I think some of her recruiting probably was based on that. Like, we can keep up with Maryland locally, then we can keep up with national teams in a sense. It's kind of a measuring stick. They come in at 2-2, which is totally different than last year. You know what I mean? When they came in kind of, limping in.
Yeah.
The Colonials, they average 58.8 points per game on 41% shooting from the field, but they shoot 36% from three as a team. That's something that they got to use to their advantage, draw the bigs out, and then that way they can do what they do best, try to penetrate. Areas of concern entering the game for me is just defense and turnovers. GW give up 63.3 points a game, and they turn the ball over 20 times a game. That's no good against Maryland, with the talent they have and the way they can get up and down the court. They will have to clean that up immediately. It's not even a matter of, we hope you have to, or it's going to be a blowout. But players to watch are Sydney Zambrata. She's a transfer from Louisville. She's leading the team with 13.3 points per game. Redshirt freshman guard Tori Hadouk is averaging 10 points, 3.5 rebounds on efficient 45% shooting from the field and 41% shooting from deep. And also 5'11" for Alexandra Mount. She's a grad student, played 3 years at Yale, posted 9 points, 3.5 rebounds on 47% shooting from the field. So they have some people that can get in. They just going to pretty much have to play a perfect game. We understand that Maryland stat, it is what it is. But in college basketball, you come to play, just as we saw, James Madison push them. You know what I mean? We can get the win. Simple as that.
And the other thing to keep in mind, Maryland can be at from a turnover standpoint. Ashley Owusu doesn't necessarily turn it over that much. Everyone not named Ashley Owusu, turnovers can be had. And so that is just something to keep an eye on, where sometimes out of looking to do the right thing to make the extra pass, turnovers happen. That's an area where they've struggled a bit this season.
She's special, man.
Yeah, like I said, not her, but
yeah, freshmen known to turn it over, man. Like I was saying, you're not people yet. You know what I'm saying? Like a rookie, you're not people, so you're pretty. But I love her, man. So it's gonna be an interesting battle.
Yep, and we'll definitely be there, so go ahead and keep up with us tomorrow night. FindusMag.com and on sports. But this is Focus TV. We're going to take a quick break when we get back. Talk a little college football, talk about the go-go a little bit too. And I tell you, we're going to get there. We're going to make our way there. You're watching the Focus TV. Welcome back to The Focus TV. All right, so we're going to talk real quick about the Maryland Terrapins. They're on a bye week. This is the football team right now. They're hosting Nebraska this week. It's their last home game of the season, and their second to last game of the season, period. That's literally where we're at the moment. They're 3-7. Nebraska's coming in at 4-6. You know, for Maryland, it's just about trying to finish the year as strong as you can.
Yep. That's play
like,
spoiler, but you know.
Like, look, man, I would love to say something else, but I'm not built to come up with something else at the moment.
Here's something else for you. Their best bet right now that they should be focused on is playing spoiler. You know, Nebraska really needs the game in order to have bowl eligibility. So Maryland should use that as some type of drive. If we can't go to a bowl, you can't go to a bowl. Right. You know, so hopefully they'll use that as some type of ammunition for the game, and at least give their home fans, you know, a good game to go out on the season, you know, something to build towards next year, especially with that being the second year for Loxley.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. This is just year one.
Mm-hmm.
But it is important that you finish the year as strong as you possibly can, regardless of all these circumstances in terms of injuries and things of that nature this year. What's important is you finish the year as best you can. And but, go ahead.
Real quick, and the players, don't go out there and quit because you're still being evaluated.
Yes.
Best believe he's recruiting.
Yes.
So your spot is not secure, especially after the season they've had. So if I were you, I would go out there and do my thing.
I mean, you have to, as you said, it is an evaluation period.
Yes.
Recruits. All right, Cardell, the Go-Go had a 2-game homestand. We attended both games. A group of us attended both games, between you, Raymond, and myself. I know the first game, Capital City Go-Go moved to 2-1. They took care of the Erie Bayhawks. And that was just all about defense. They started slow, but we talk about defense where people just keep ignoring it for whatever reason. They forced 31 turnovers and it led to 35 points. It's just that simple. The other thing we got to see is the Go-Go have really good depth at the guard position. And that was before the acquisition they made. And I know you will get into that in just a bit. I guess that's the biggest thing that stood out to me was the depth of the guard position, the way that they continue to compete on the defensive end. Because had they not, you know, it was easy for a game like that to get away with them. And shout out to your preview, because that was also a big part for Erie. Without Josh Gray there, you know, you got the kid on Jalen Allen just a little bit. But the point being, you still had to go out and get the job done, and they executed their game plan as best as they could, and they get a win. But in the second game of the homestand, I don't think didn't go as well.
Y'all faces tell it all.
Yeah, if I see it, then I know they see it.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong, it's easier said than done to stop it, but it is what it is. One dude I try to emphasize from the herd is Cameron Reynolds. The boy's a bucket. Like, he's just one of those. He's not overly athletic, 6'7" lefty, but he can put the ball in the hole, and he can do it in a myriad of ways. And I'd be dang if he ain't come in the first quarter had like 10 points and went off. It was perfect from the field and finished the game with 24 points. Jalen Adams had 27. Jalen Adams is a local product, played at Mount St. Joe's up in Baltimore, and then went to St. Bonaventure. And then Rajon Tucker, 16. They pretty much just shot the lights out from 3. And that's uncharacteristic because I think the Go-Go came into this game as one of the best defensive teams that defended the 3. So for them to have that type of lapses, you know, it's crazy, but it's not. You got to give the herd credit because they were moving the ball, they was keeping it up tempo, and guys were getting to their spots. And ultimately, the Capital City Go-Go fell 132 to 106. To the herd, Go-Go fell to 2-2. The herd improved to 4-1, so that tells you they're pretty good. You know what I mean? And they did it without my man from the Suns. I forget his name real quick. The big kid that they sent down. That was drafted by the Suns, 4th overall, the center.
Bender?
Yeah, Bender. Yeah, Bender. Yeah, Jordan. He wasn't on the team. So he wasn't. He didn't play this game. So I don't know if he got called up or whatnot before the game, but he didn't play. Bottom line, the herd shot 20 or 45 from 3, which was 44%. It's hard to overcome that. And they shot 48 to 83 from the field overall. So they pretty much got whatever they wanted. It's just hard. They didn't feel the resistance. By the time you look up, Go-Go were down 20. They was playing from behind the entire game. Second half was much better effort defensively, but they were in such a deep hole. They would have to play a historic style of defense to like hold them to single digits to try to get back in the game. And the way the herd had it going, it just wasn't going to happen. The Go-Go had 3 20-point scores. Admiral Schofield had 24. Justin Robinson had 20. Jalen Hudson had 21. Chris Chioza, who I feel like is an NBA player, it's just a matter of him getting to the right team where he could do his thing. He had his first double-double with 11 points, 13 assists, but he had about 7 rebounds as well. So he was working on the triple-double. The Go-Go will begin a 2-game road trip. They're playing tonight actually at Delaware, and they would take on the Blue Coats. They're playing right now at 7 p.m. The Herd will continue their 4-game road trip in Lakeland on tomorrow, and they play the Magic at 7 p.m.
All right. It's always hard to get back into a game when you don't offer any resistance on the defensive end.
But it seems like these days they don't really, when they talk about skills, they just look at one end of the ball. They don't emphasize the defensive end. It's funny how no one talks about defense till it's not there. And it's just like, y'all gonna get in the way or something? Like,
you wonder why games are 160 to 165 and all types of crazy stuff. Both teams have 85 by halftime. As you said, the focus needs to be put on the other side of the ball. And we got a good pro episode coming up soon, focusing on just that.
Yep.
Love shameless plugging. We can do that as much as we want. Octavia, we're going to talk about NFC East in just a little bit. I know you're excited to talk about this.
Not really.
I am.
Lord Jesus.
I most definitely am. You guys are watching the Focus TV, but before we take our second break, Jamal Hayward's back this week as always. So here is Jamal Hayward, 9-4-50 breakdown.
Today we're going to break down a really good move today by Hakeem Olajuwon. It's the move that he used on David Robinson in the playoffs over 20 years ago. So it's called the Dream Shake. So he started it up with a setup here with a step cross. It was on his left wing right here. So starting with the ball in the right hand, step cross, which means you're stepping the right foot out, crossover, meaning that the ball's in the right hand. So today we're going to break down a really good move today by Hakeem Olajuwon. It's the move that he used on David Robinson in the playoffs over 20 years ago. So it's called the Dream Shake. So he started it up with a setup here with a step cross. It was on his left wing right here. So starting with the ball in the right hand, step cross, which means you're stepping the right foot out, crossover, meaning that the ball's in the right hand. So step cross. So after the crossover, it was a run. After the crossover, run here, show. So we're gonna break that down. Show. So now, after the show, he showed it here with his eyes looking that way. David Robinson went this way. Pivoted off the left foot. Shot fake. Jump hook shot fake. Eyes on the rim. David Robinson went for the jump fake. Here, pivot again off the left foot. Step through for a layup. Here it is live. Again. Hard step cross. Show. Shot. Finish. All right, today we're going to break down a really good move today by Hakeem. Today we're going to break down a really good move today by Hakeem Olajuwon. It's the move that he used on David Robinson in the playoffs over 20 years ago. So it's called the Dream Shake. So he started it up with a setup here with a step cross. It was on his left wing right here. So starting with the ball in the right hand, step cross, which means you're stepping the right foot out, crossover, meaning that the ball's in the right hand. So step cross. So after the crossover, it was a run. After the crossover, run here, show. So we're gonna break that down. Show. So now, after the show, he showed it here with his eyes looking that way. David Robinson went this way. Pivoted off the left foot. Shot fake. Jump hook shot fake. Eyes on the rim. David Robinson went for the jump fake. Here, pivot again off the left foot. Step through for a layup. Here it is live. Again, arch step cross, show, shot, finish. All right, today we're gonna break down a really good move today by Hakeem Olajuwon. It's the move that he used on David Robinson in the playoffs over 20 years ago. So it's called the Dream Shake. So he started it up with a setup here with a step cross. It was on his left wing right here. So starting with the ball in the right hand, step cross, which means you're stepping the right foot out, crossover, meaning that the ball's in the right hand. So step cross. So after the crossover, it was a run. After the crossover, run here, show. So we're gonna break that down. Show. So now, after the show, he showed it here with his eyes looking that way. David Robinson went this way. Pivoted off the left foot. Shot fake. Jump hook shot fake. Eyes on the rim. David Robinson went for the jump fake. Here, pivot again off the left foot. Step through for a layup. Here it is live. Again, arch step cross, show, shot, finish.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. Octavia, let's talk about the NFC East.
Do we have to?
Yes,
oh,
we
okay,
do.
my
We
bad.
have
I'm
to
sorry.
talk about
We
the
do.
NFC East. It is important.
Yes. So another week, and there were more games, and there were pretty much the same outcomes. So I'm gonna start. The Redskins played the Jets. The Jets won 34-17. The Redskins' next game is gonna be against the Lions. Redskins quarterback Dwayne Haskins was 19 of 35, 214 yards for 2 touchdowns and 1 interception, 4 carries for 5 yards. Adrian Peterson had 9 carries for 25 yards. Darius Geis had 7 carries for 24 yards and 1 reception for 45 yards and 1 touchdown. McLaurin had 3 receptions for 69 yards, and Sprinkle had 2 receptions, 16 yards, and 1 touchdown. The biggest takeaway for this, of course, I think we talked about it last week, that the Redskins have officially named Haskins as the starter for the rest of the season. The streak of 16 quarters with no touchdown has finally come to an end. I saw an interesting graphic during the game where they said the last team that went that long without a touchdown during the season actually won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that won't be easy.
Yeah.
Just to give you guys a little bit of hope. No.
The shade.
That's so petty.
And what's crazy is it was a team up the road. It was the Ravens. So,
Yeah, that defense though. 2000 Ravens wasn't it?
yeah. Yeah, it's the 2000 Ravens. So Haskins did throw his first career touchdown to Darius Geis, who received his first career touchdown with his first game back after suffering another knee injury earlier this year. So it was positive for them in that aspect, but the score is kind of misleading. It was more so 34-3 for the most of the game. The 2 touchdowns came in garbage time for the Redskins. But like I said, it's a positive step for them. They know they're working towards the next season. And to finally see, Haskins be able to get a touchdown pass, actually put together a series as well that ended in a touchdown that he threw to Jeremy Sprinkle. It's a little bit of hope for them. I feel like as time goes on, they're saying that Haskins is getting more comfortable and, being the quarterback, running all the reps, running all the plays and everything. So hopefully he's able to continue to progress. They will play the Lions next week, and hopefully they're able to come out, with something positive for them. But just outside of that, the Redskins just kind of, again, just shot themselves in the foot. In the first half alone, the Washington Redskins totaled 7 penalties. They finished the game with 11 for 66 yards. It was just tough. And especially, not to downplay the Jets, because, the Jets have only beat NFC East teams this year.
That's wild.
I'm saying that, they're now 3-7, I believe, and they beat the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Giants. So it's a little bit kind of crazy with that. I don't think we played them this year, which is kind of good, because it's like they got, I don't know, maybe they know something that we don't know. So that was the end of that game. Second game, I'm going to go to the Eagles versus the Patriots. Won't save us for last this week. The Eagles lost to the Patriots 17-10. Carson Wentz was 20 of 40, 214 yards and 1 touchdown. Miles Sanders had 11 carries for 38 yards, 2 receptions for 9 yards. Zach Ertz had 9 receptions for 94 yards, and Dallas Goedert had 3 receptions, 36 yards and 1 touchdown. I just feel like we've completely swapped places with the team. Earlier in the year, our defense was just not doing anything. The secondary was getting burnt every chance that they got. And now the roles have reversed. The defense is finally healthy. You can actually see it. And I can't even remember the stat right now off the top of my head, but Brady missed 12 passes or something in the first half, which was like a career low for him. So the defense did everything that they were supposed to do. They held them as much as they could. The Eagles had a 10-point lead at one point, and just the offense couldn't click. Of course, we know Deshaun Jackson is out, as well as this week, Alshon Jeffrey was out with an ankle injury. Jordan Howard is out with a shoulder injury. Darren Sproles has been put on IR with a hip flexor. And just speaking of him, I love Darren Sproles, and I definitely think it's time for him to retire. I think he's probably on the same boat because I know that was talked about a lot last year, but he really wanted to finish out his career with a full season, and it's just not going the way, just like he got hurt last year. And on top of that, Jason Peters had a lot of penalties this week on the left side, and then on the right side, Lane Johnson went into the concussion protocol, so he lost both tackles. Dillard tried to fill in, Whiteside tried to fill in. It was just a lot to deal with. And with all of that, we still could, they still had a chance to win the game. It just wasn't in the cards. So the next game is going to be against the Seahawks. And then after that, it gets a little bit easier. Hopefully, you can't really say that nowadays because you never know what'll happen in these games. But the next game will be against the Seahawks for them. And like I said, with no Howard, and with them also putting Sproles on the injury reserve list, they did re-sign Jay Ajayi this past weekend. He did not play in this game, which was a little bit surprising to me just because I know he came in late and he didn't get much work in. I think he said maybe 2 to 3 days of practice, which is why I'm guessing he didn't play and they went more to Boston Scott, which I still feel like with Boston Scott, the same way I felt about Wendell Smallwood. I feel like they're trying to find a new Darren Sproles, and there is no new Darren Sproles. There's not. We got to let that go, in my opinion. But I understood why Jay Ajayi didn't play, although on the flip side, I figured he could still come in because he played with us last year. It can't be that much that he can't grasp in a short period of time where he wouldn't have been able to help, in my opinion. But of course, I'm not the coach. I wasn't there. I'm not part of player personnel or anything like that. So wasn't too surprised, but hopefully he'll be ready to go next week. And hopefully they'll give Miles Sanders some more work. He didn't really get too much this past week. And I feel like that he is, if anybody is going to replace Sproles, it'll be him in that aspect. But we shall see going into next week. The final game this week, just because the Giants was also on a bye, the Cowboys played the Lions. The Cowboys was victorious. They won 35-27. Their next game is going to be against the Patriots as well. Dak Prescott was 29 of 46, 444 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 carries for 18 yards. Ezekiel Elliott had 16 carries, 45 yards for 1 rushing touchdown and 2 receptions for 28 yards with 1 receiving touchdown. Michael Gallup had 9 receptions, 148 yards. Randall Cobb had 4 receptions, 415 yards and 1 touchdown. And Tony Pollard had 4 receptions, 44 yards for 1 touchdown and 2 carries for 12 yards. I mean, the Cowboys were clicking on all cylinders. They started a little bit slow again, and at the same time, even though they were doing so well, Detroit didn't let up. It was definitely a hard-fought game. It was kind of hard for me because I was literally watching both games at the same time with the Redskins game on TV and the Cowboys game on my computer, just kind of going back and forth. But obviously the Cowboys game drew a little bit more of my attention just because of let's just be obvious. But Dak Prescott, he finished with 444 passing yards, third highest total of his career, with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 116.6 passer rating. Their offensive unit had 509 yards of total offense, averaging 7.2 yards per play and converting on 62% of their third down catches. I don't know if they realized getting Cobb would work out this well for them. I'm honestly a little bit surprised. I'm not saying Cobb has never been a great wide receiver because he has, but he is on the other side of his career at this point, but he's not really showing it. He's making incredible grabs. He got hit in the head during the game, and he still made the catch for the touchdown. Dak is putting the ball where it needs to be. Even though Zeke didn't have a typical Zeke-esque game as far as yardage, he was still effective when he needed to be. Gallup was still there. And we're talking about Gallup and we're talking about Cobb. We're not even mentioning Cooper this week, which is kind of crazy. They have those, that's 3 top tier wide receivers at that point. Your other 2 wide receivers, Gallup and Cobb, both over 100 yards receiving in the game. It's kind of hard for y'all not to win games like that. So I'm interested to see how they play against the Patriots next week. See if they're able to do what we couldn't do, and see how they match up as well, because we're almost to December, and That's my thing. I'm sorry. I just feel like it happens every December. We shall see how they progress going forward. But yeah, that's about it for the NFC East this week.
Was the December thing really necessary?
Was what other thing really necessary?
The December part of that. Really
That's very necessary because that is a actual thing. There's data to back up how they usually have a drastic drop off in December. I don't know what it is. Maybe they can tell us. Maybe they know. I'm not sure, but that's usually what happens. And then just to throw it out there as well, the Giants will play the Bears next week. I'm coming off of their bye.
Shout out to whoever sits through that game. I'm saying it, though.
Bad quarterback.
Man, that's horrible to watch.
Yeah, I'll probably just catch the highlights and bring them to you next week, guys.
Bet you Khalil Mack wish you could do the same thing. Just catch the highlights. Send it to the end.
All right, I'm gonna head out. I'll see y'all next week.
I'm about to get that bonus money. I'm get about 8 sacks this game.
Man, that is that's all those good games on next week, and that's.
Yeah, there's a lot of good games. Like I said, you guys got flexed to Sunday night with the Packers. Yeah. We were supposed to play Sunday night. We got booted out. It's cool. This is a more interesting game. It was only 7 points. That's the part. I'm telling you, man. I know it.
3 quarters.
And the only thing that I feel like would have saved us in that game is our defense would have needed to score. The offense just could not. Carson was 20 of 40. He is part of the blame for the loss. He had some accuracy issues. There was a fumble. So a lot of times we put all the blame on the quarterback, or we put all the blame on the wide receivers. And, like we were talking about off air, a lot of people are already trying to blame Nelson Aguilar. And it's really just because of previous games and previous drops. That last play, it was a circus catch if he would have made it, so. And at this point, nobody fears our wide receivers at this moment. So, especially with Deshaun being out, especially then with Alshon being out. So they already know who's the next go-to person, and they're going to double him. And that's Ertz, and that's what they did. Now, he did get 9 receptions for 94 yards. He did what he could. Dallas Goedert was also pretty good in the game as well, scoring a touchdown, but it's not enough. We're going to need to do some type of innovative plays or something to get people open. And that's why I felt like they should use Sanders a little bit more in the receiving game, because he has proved that he can receive and he can catch the ball and get the yards after the catch. So we'll see what happens next week. And so I'm literally on a week-by-week basis with them at this point.
Just go ahead and start watching on Saturday, get ready for,
Nah, man, I'm not giving up that much because we're only a full game behind. All we gotta do is win the NFC East. That's not that hard. It's not that hard.
You really want to see what's the other side of that?
Yeah, that's all we need. We just need to get there.
It's dangerous people sitting outside.
The NFC is
Is it like 5-8 win teams just chilling?
Yeah, it's a lot of y'all.
Is that the smoke that you actually?
You heard me say y'all, not us, right? It's a lot of y'all.
I know that was hard for you. All right, so we're gonna move on to something else in the NFL, something that, man. All right, let me go ahead and start. By now, I think we've already heard about Colin Kaepernick, the latest thing with him, and the wonderful good old NFL. This past weekend, things didn't go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get into the meat of that in a minute. But my biggest thing I also want to mention in this time we're gonna take a talk about is all the misinformation out there. Because it's dangerous times. We talk all the time on Wax just about the platforms everybody has, no matter how big it is, how small it is, or whatever, and the importance of being responsible with said platforms. And this is a perfect example of one of these times where people are being so irresponsibly reckless with the platforms that are given to them. The motives, we'll get into that as well. But again, for what you're supposed to be here for, is shedding light on both sides, as much of the truth as you can.
Mm-hmm.
2 parties involved, we already know these 2 parties have not gotten along. They've been through litigation, as evidenced by the last 3 years. So again, it's kind of interesting to all of a sudden go to, we get to last week, we had the show last week. A day later, whatever, we find out, oh, there's going to be a workout or whatever for Colin Kaepernick. We're like, okay, it's on a Saturday. All right. Then as the week goes on, we get closer and closer. We find more and more things out. And I guess so before we get into that, Malcolm Jenkins, obviously we know he's not exactly the most favorite guy of one Eric Reed or Colin Kaepernick, but Malcolm Jenkins had this to say on the workout earlier this week. Based on all things that have led us to this point, it leaves me a little skeptical.
Right.
This is just being honest, being transparent, being a normal person with this good old thing called common sense that I feel like everybody's went out their way to lose. Eric Reed, earlier this week, it feels disingenuous, feels like a PR stunt. What decision makers are going to be able to attend a Saturday workout? Again, what decision makers? Key part of this that people are like really leaving out. All right, so we get to Saturday. NFL workout's supposed to happen at 3. Things don't go as planned. Colin's camp ends up doing a separate workout at 4. He does the workouts live stream. Multiple people see it. I was one of those people sending links out. And then we get to after that, and then it turns into we're questioning whether someone wants to play in the NFL. And I guess my biggest thing here, and this has happened within sports also, where for whatever reason I would love to know why fans continually always choose to take the side of the leagues and or teams anytime it has to do anything with a player. We see this all the time. The free agency or the last year's important star player's contract, and people turn on them, how could you leave them? All this other stuff, you ignore all the stuff that led up to that point, almost making it as if the teams of those organizations have no fault as they got to that last place, to that final place, once that person makes a better decision for themselves. Or that person wants what they're worth, what they should be owed. This is a totally different situation, but I want to hear what you guys have to think. Again, last week we found out about the workout, we'll get into more details just a little bit, but one of the most interesting things to me is, as far as the NFLPA goes, this came from Howard Bryant's Twitter, they weren't notified. So for everyone kind of going with, it was a job interview, it's on the up and up, why was the NFLPA not notified?
It was BS.
Go ahead.
From the beginning.
And that's what I'm saying is we live in an information age, right? It's not that hard to question things and just check things and, to fact check things. And yet here we are and, it's all the time. I just feel like it's a choice to, people make a literal choice to omit things, ignore things, what have you, but you guys take on the whole situation.
For me, it's just a lot to take in. It's like you said, it does feel disingenuous. Their reasoning for it's being on a Saturday kind of threw me off. It's just hard because, reading everything that I've read about certain aspects of this potential workout was just kind of off. Number one, most workouts are on Tuesdays. Why was this not on a Tuesday? Number one. Number two, I read the stuff we put up, he didn't know who he was throwing to. They never told him who would be there to go through the workouts with him. He had to pay his own people to come out there. Number three, they didn't want him or his camp to record the workouts. They didn't want any media at the workouts. They didn't want anybody there. And to me, that's really kind of suspect, because why not? If we're in this whole age where we're trying to be transparent about what's going on, why not have these people who are at everything else that's involved with this situation? Why is it not all of a sudden they're not able to be here? And I understand his frustrations with it. And the sad part about it, for me, in my opinion, is this whole circus situation that's going on is drawing away from the fact that he does want to play in the NFL. And like he even said, tell your owners not to be scared, don't be scared. But I think that that's what the issue is. People, whatever their reasoning is at this point, don't want to be involved in the mess. And it's not mess that he's necessarily starting. It's just the mess of the whole situation, which I think takes away from the fact of him being a good football player. That's the part that irritates me, that why can we not get past this at this point? If he is good enough to play in the NFL, he needs to be in the NFL. That, to me, like, I don't understand how we are still going around in the same circle over and over and over and over and over again. And everybody on the NFL side is saying, oh no, we're not blackballing him, we want him to play. And then you have all these things that happen. So it's like, which way is it? So for me, it's really getting frustrating to continuously hear about stuff like this. You know, when the news first broke about him being able to have this workout, I was initially excited for him, just for the fact that it was something that would happen, you know. But all the backstory to it and all the things behind closed doors kind of muddied it up for me. And I'm just really like, at this point, like, what else is he supposed to do? What else do you want him to do? What other hoops do you want him to jump through to show you that he's ready? You know, especially like they got the notice that they were even going to have the workout, like, what, a couple days before? You know, so it's like, why, if this was something that you guys have been wanting to do, why is it all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're going to do it on Saturday? Why was he not properly notified? Like you would properly notify anybody else, or anybody else that's looking to work out for an NFL team. So those are the things that just kind of irk me about this whole situation. I really do hope that he does get another opportunity, although if I'm honest with myself, I don't think it'll happen. And I'm sad to say that. You know, I hope that somebody does prove me wrong, but at this point, I'm kind of at a loss.
I just think in this situation, the NFL tried to be slick through the trial to, in a sense, shut him up, get out the litigation situation, and also fool the public into thinking we're trying to give him an opportunity.
Yep.
And he didn't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. He wrote on the Undefeated article, he called an audible of his own and made them look dumb. You know, they tried to checkmate him. He ended up checkmating them. Mm-hmm. And I'm totally in agreement with what he did. All he asked for was transparency. And to piggyback on what you're saying, as far as they kind of just threw a workout on him a couple days before Saturday, it wasn't even a full day. They hit him up like at 11, according to the details. They hit him up at 11 a.m. Said you got until 1 p.m. to make a decision. So they didn't even really leave him enough time to even go through the contracts or whatever, and to like edit it up, like, nah, we ain't going with this, and send it back over. And the NFL knew what they were doing. They gave him a timeline so that when he did edit it up, they can try to say it's not enough time for that, so you got to abide by our rules. And then from what else I've read in details, a lot of the teams didn't even know the workout was going on. It came straight from the NFL office. That's why the NFLPA didn't know. Mm-hmm. So it was BS. Mm-hmm. And let's keep it about. It's wild that no one's mentioned this. They're moving like they're scared to sign him because the president pumped him. Because the president pretty much threatened him, saying, "Look, if y'all sign this dude, I will pass a law where." When it comes to funding your team, funding the stadium and everything, you can't use taxpayers' dollars. You would have to come out your pocket for that from now on. They don't want to do that. See, when he got involved and started making threats, they became scared. That's what's really keeping him out the league. And that's why he's saying stop being scared. Tell your owner stop being scared and do the right thing. This is what it really comes down to. It's all about moral. Why is it a dude who took a knee, a silent protest, to protest systematic racism, systematic oppression, police brutality, things that no human being with a pulse, with any type of moral or ethics in them would want to see? Why did that become such a big issue? To the point where this man has been basically blackballed for 30 years. And why is it some of our own with major platforms standing up for the NFL when, if I recall through history, what the hell has the NFL ever done to help us? Mm-hmm. Except use our talents to make money off of them. Like, are you serious? I don't understand that. They are not trustworthy. What have they done to be trustworthy? Even when he first took a knee, you had owners coming out there taking a fake knee looking at you like, do y'all really think we're stupid?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's the problem right there.
Yes.
That's the problem right there.
Yes.
So in a sense, they want him to stop kneeling for a cause, but they want him to kneel before them.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that he didn't conform, even though some are saying you should conform to get the job, bro. Well, you can't conform, because once you do conform, those very same analysts or whatever on major platforms will be saying, see, he wasn't really about that struggle anyway.
Yep. It's like he's damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Exactly. And you still not going to get a job.
But not only that, like, I'm offended that people keep calling this a job interview, honestly.
But it
You
wasn't.
know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't a job interview. That's not normal NFL protocol or whatever. To bring players all the time. It happens at the top of the week. Those are usually the last days on the schedule. You know, it's just common knowledge. It's not anything crazy. And the other thing is the fact that the league chose to do it, not the teams. Like, how much stuff do you have to hear? Like, you don't have to be super sharp to understand that this stuff doesn't add up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You really don't have to. You don't have to be a knowledgeable person about the NFL to understand that in this case, 1 + 1, and for them, they're trying to get it to equal 327.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 2. Stop it. It's been 3 years. 32 teams had every opportunity to go ahead, right?
Mm-hmm. And he threw the hell out the ball. So that's not the real reason that y'all been hiding behind. So that's a lie. That's my point. Y'all are liars. Y'all full of it. And then they basically saying, you hear former coaches on these platforms saying, we don't want the circus. I won't want the circus. But basically what you really mean is you don't want a black man to have a voice. That's really what it is. You don't want him speaking up for himself. That's really what this is. Because it's not, when did Kaepernick ever have a circus before he kneeled? When did he ever come with an entourage and stuff? But no disrespect, but you'll give AB multiple chances after the crap he's done.
But he's not. But this is what I'm saying. The stuff that comes out of it, and I'm not arguing with you, I'm just saying to piggyback off your point. The stuff that AB says, it's reckless, it doesn't matter, it's not important. Therefore, it's just noise, right?
Mm-hmm.
The stuff coming out of someone else's mouth, it makes sense. There's a point to it.
He's a black man with a voice.
Intelligent at that. So nobody really has time for it. And then the thing that's so ironic to me for the NFL and all the people in the NFL that feel that way, not the entire NFL, but those that feel that way. Take a look at what's happening this year in the NFL, right? At the current state of things. We have the way that, quote unquote, the position is supposed to be played, and it doesn't look so great right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain way this league is trending a certain direction. And literally, even to the point that one of the MVP frontrunners is literally running a hybrid form of that person who's not in the league's offense from a few years back, right? That's where we're at in this league, right? So the idea that he can't play is just beyond laughable. Where we're watching literally right now. If you don't have a dual threat quarterback, you're in trouble. It's literally where we're at in the NFL right now. You're in the world of trouble. This is where we're going. This is where we're trending. And again, with the Colin thing is, I agree with you with Trump getting into it and everything, but I feel like it's that thing that happened in basketball a long time ago. It's a change. We're getting to a place where it's going to change, and what used to be the minority at that position will soon become the majority at that position.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a scary thing where we heard so many times in football, we hear every year, we talk about this every year, we get near draft time, and really good quarterbacks that are others, all of a sudden we hear wonderful things about them for 3 years, 4 years. They get to that last part of April, all of a sudden they're dumb, deaf, blind, can't read, right? All they can do is run, even if they didn't spend all their time running. Because of said position now it's viewed on. And the position, it's all about leadership. What's happening now with everybody in that position that's excelling right now looks a certain type of way.
Bro, no doubt you're right. But you focus on football. I don't care about that. It's about a black man having a voice that they're scared of the most.
Nah, but that's what I'm saying. Like I agree with you.
Nah, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just speaking of, that's really what it is. But they hide behind the thing. They keep bringing up the old record he had last season, even though he banged up, not having any help. That's BS. It has nothing to do with that. Look, you can't conform sometimes, man. It's just, it is what it is, man. We're at a place where the NFL just has to change. Some of these people may have to get up out their seats and go on about their business, or they won't have to change their thinking and their ways. We're at that point. It's at a breaking point. This is not going away. He's not going away. And they have to accept that. They can't, that good old boy way of thinking and stuff, for one, we about to be in 2020 still fighting these same stupid battles that they were fighting in the 60s. It's pathetic, man.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think with what I was saying and with the Colin thing, this is the hill they're choosing to die on because it's done.
Bro, it's dead. It's not even to die on. They're fighting, they're holding on to an old way of thinking that's ignorant and it's over, bro. That is no way, and to have our own on national platform saying you should have conformed to get the job. I'm looking at y'all suspect now. And that's how they work. I love how some of them got caught out. Maybe the people that feeding you information, they lied to you, they use you. And instead of you just own the fact that maybe you got and stopping the bleeding, you want to keep you want to die on this hill. Exactly. And and to me that's the most dangerous thing about this. Us in the media, we got our own battles and stuff as far as what we're building right here. But us in the media, our job is to inform with factual information. Anybody can give an opinion. For real, you could save a lot of money by just putting a camera in every barbershop in the hood. It would be very entertaining, and you get a lot of opinions. You see what I'm saying? You ain't even got it don't cost a lot. So at the end of the day, you have to get back to facts and truthful information, and that's what was missing. And I love the fact that Kaepernick's camp took control of the narrative. They put everything out there, and once we saw all of the details and everything, it's just like, how can you deny that?
But that's the key part of what you just said is control the narrative. What did the NFL love to do more so than anybody else? Control the narrative.
But they play off the sheepish minds of so many people. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't like to think. They take the one little headline and just run with it. Like, that does not make sense. Our job, we can see the headline. People tell me stuff all the time. I just be like, okay, I'll keep that in mind. But I'm going to see for myself. Because it's something like, dude ain't a good dude. Oh, for real? Okay. But he may not be a good dude to you because you were foul and he checked you. So now you don't like him because you don't like how he made you feel. That has nothing to do with his overall character. That's the stuff that's going on. And that's what I just see in this situation, man. It's a dang shame that he can't have a job without he can't have a job and have a voice at the same time. He's not being disrespectful. The things he's basically pointing out are things that shouldn't be going on in our society anyway. So what is the problem?
Just that.
Racist league.
Hey, look,
let's call it what it is.
Speaking up.
And they don't like us to speak up. Stay in your lane.
Look, it's no deeper than that. Speaking up. Speaking up. It's
look, and for a history lesson, Bill Russell, twice, 2 situations. Had an exhibition game in Kentucky. Before the game, black players went down to the restaurant and had something to eat. You don't feed black players. Word. Bill Russell like, cool, I'm gonna go home. Call Ray Auerbach. I'm about to go home. Ray Auerbach like, yeah, it's been a long day. He's like, no, I'm out of here tonight. No, we got a game, what's going on? Went down to the restaurant, they want to feed us. So I'm gonna go somewhere where I can get a good meal. It was just as simple as that. Ray Auerbach like, no, let me call him. So you can have dinner with the owner and all this would be squashed. He's like, Bill Russell like, who the hell is he to think I want to have dinner with him? I don't want to have dinner with him. Who is he? Ray Auerbach, all right, let me, look. You come down, take a picture, they will abolish that. Anybody, he said, that's beside the point, Red. It's the principle in this. I'm going home.
That's what everyone's getting away from.
That's the point. And Red Auerbach walked him to the airport. And it messed up the entire game because these fans were pissed. They didn't get to see these players and messed up money and all that. And Bill Russell said from then on, they had to do a little research with who they were dealing with. Mm-hmm. Policies were changed. He just got his Hall of Fame ring because he wasn't accepted because they tried to make him the first one to get in the Hall of Fame. And he's like, no, there's people before me that should be in before me. Once you handle that, then I accept it. And he just now getting it. Why are we still fighting these same battles, man?
Because as much as people try to make it seem like things change,
because they just keep teaching their kids the same stuff over and over again.
It's learned behavior, man. Mm-hmm. It's a sickening. So, and how can you not stand with Kaepernick after this? Man, he could have been for it. And it's no different than what Ali doing now. Ali's situation was different. He was literally going at the government's neck. But it was a lot of prominent black people there that didn't like him. Jackie Robinson, Joe Lewis, they fought in the service. So they were like, oh man, how can you not have patriotism and all that? They went at his neck. So that had to hurt, like, man, y'all set the standard for me. Y'all understand what we fighting for, what I'm fighting for? And he went through it. But he got through it, and after it seemed, now all of a sudden he's a hero. I see the same type of trajectory for Kaepernick, and there's gonna be a lot of people looking stupid at the end of the
They're
day.
on the wrong side of history.
Come on, man, it's not that difficult, man. It's been too many instances, man.
It
So-
shouldn't be. And that's the thing that's the most annoying part about it. It took something that was so simple and turned it into this.
Talking about he's whining or that stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with the
But
situation.
my favorite part is the circus part, where the NFL, last league in the world.
I'm about to say, y'all been a circus.
That's my
Word
point.
Circus.
But haven't they been saying for 3 years, Kaepernick don't talk? But now he's bringing the circus.
Well,
So what is it?
Well, we found out he actually had an entourage this week. Like that was learned behavior. I thought, let me chill. But yeah, that was new too. Especially for the makeup of said entourage, I was interested. But that's the biggest thing here, man. It's just like, I urge everyone to do a better job with all this information, with access to information we have. Fact check everything, man. It's not that difficult.
We have a responsibility. If you call yourself a so-called reporter, writer, you work in the media, you have a responsibility to give factual information. Any one of us can give opinions all day. That is not what's going to separate you. I get it. We in that type of era where you can opinionate your way up to a certain type of status and money and all that. But bro, you can't leave your soul and your moral ethics behind it while trying to do so, man. At the end of the day, man, like I love to learn. What can you teach me? And you can't teach me nothing off of giving me opinions, because what is it based off of?
Nothing.
Because of your position at a company?
Or feeling.
You see, that's all I'm saying. So give me some facts so we can learn. That's our job. If we not doing that, we're no better than people. We're no better than people that don't have the access. You just glorify fans.
It's the same thing with the match. So, I mean, like legit, that's what that is. All right, folks. So we're gonna get out of here. This has been the Focus TV. Get over to finestbag.com, mountainsports.com, and we'll see you guys soon.
Shout out to Melo. I'll see you back in the league.
Yeah, man. I am an official Blazer fan, if you guys didn't know.
Put in your mic.